anyways, let's go to Alaka-Sham. Now, this episode is all about, well, Daryl becoming a schemer, and he does this magician stuff. But then he also does tick off the magician that's in Brighton. Irving, the magician, is always well known over at Brighton, but Daryl is trying to outplay him, becoming the best magician by using Scratch as a pig.
Yeah, and it has been a while since we've seen Daryl and Scratch as sort of a skating dynamic duo. We've seen it in like a few episodes of season 1, and let me tell you, like based on both Daryl and Scratch's mischievous personalities, they managed to work up them off each other really well.
Oh, I mean, the fact that like both of them are just becoming naughty. I mean, the fact that he's like scheming kids, and the other thing too is having Scratch cheat. I mean,
which we all know Scratch is a huge fan of. He's a huge fan of
cheating. Something, yeah.
And of course, this disgusts Molly to no end because, well, Molly hates magicians, so.
Right, especially the fact that Molly, when she sees Daryl becoming a magician, she's just like, ugh, gross.
Yeah, it's like, I have no brother. Molly's just like, I have no brother.
Now the thing is, like, when she sees Daryl doing all this magician stuff, she kind of wonders, like, how is he doing all this magician stuff? It turns out like all these floaty stuff and things like that is just because Scratch is pretty much behind the whole scenes. I mean, obviously everybody else. I mean, Molly and Daryl can be able to see ghosts, but everybody else can't. So
yeah, and of course, I'm just thinking to myself, okay, how is Scratch able to use this currency? Because nobody can see ghosts other than the obvious main characters. I'm just like, how is Scratch going to pay for anything with this money?
I don't know. It's just more to help Daryl, I guess. He's trying to be like, Probably. He's just trying to be helpful to Daryl. And of course, Molly's just very disappointed in everything. All right, so yeah. But here's the thing. We also do have a B story when it comes to this episode. It turns out that, well, we go back to the Ghost Council. We haven't seen the Ghost Council in quite a while.
And here's another problem that I have with the most recent episodes is that other than this one, we don't really see much of the Ghost Council anymore.
No, we don't. I mean, there's only just been mostly of the citizens of Brighton. Like, we get to see Molly, we get to see Libby, we get to see a little bit of Andrea, and a lot of other those characters in Scratch. But yeah, we never see the Ghost Council, and we kind of feel like, wait, you're the main person of the ghost world. Why are we not focusing on what you do?
Yeah, and that's also one of the few the lack of Ghost Council actually,
or more entirely the ghost world itself.
And that's what I mean. Like, the lack of Ghost Council actually snowballs into the big problem is, like you said, lack of Ghost World. And lack of Ghost World means, lack of Scratch's character development as, the chairman.
He is the new chairman after all. And we kind of like blew it out of the water. Like, yes, he's the chairman. And he did like a couple of things in the first few episodes of the second season. But after that, again, nothing after that.
It's as if he never became chairman at all.
And here's the thing, like, he gets called in for this episode just to figure out what's going on with these curses. And in the end, he's just being lazy. He just wants to get off his duties and things like that. So I don't know. Like, this thing is about to go out of hand. All these curses, all these like hexes. I don't know what's going on here. But again, he's just mishandling his like responsible duties, and he's just going to like be off and work with Daryl or something.
Which, to be fair, is not very far off from Scratch's character. This does seem a bit in character when you look at Scratch. Because we look at Scratch, he is sort of like the lazy slacker.
Right, true. Which, I mean, yeah, I get it. He's the lazy slob, especially in this episode. He's not really caring about whatever's going on in the Ghost Council, so.
Yeah, but, like my issue with that is, like I said before, they could have done more. Season 2 could have done more with, Scratch's character arc as a chairman.
Right, exactly. So, nonetheless, the Ghost World has a problem, and Scratch is pretty much saying, hey, Ghost Council, do whatever you guys can do to get it done. I'll be back in Brighton just doing some magic shenanigans,
Yeah, and when we meet shenanigans, well, we're about to show you later.
So yeah, Scratch and Daryl are just scheming up stuff over at Brighton, but remember that there is a magician in Brighton already called Irving. And, of course, he notices the fact that, like, hey, you're doing a lot of magic stuff. I'm the magician here. What are you doing? Yeah, he's trying to show off, saying, like, hey, I'm the real magician of Brighton. You're a poser. You're a scam artist, etc.
Yeah, I think we've seen him before in season 1.
We've seen him a lot. I mean, I've seen him with Molly a lot, and Molly obviously freaks the hell out considering that it's fake. It's like, fake? No, I don't think it's real magic,
But yeah, looking at the rivalry, I will say, like, the rivalry is quite amusing. But then again, the rivalry is quite amusing in and of itself. You got to see like Irving. He's still like the egotistical magician. He's just like I do the magic, not you.
Yeah.
And then like Daryl, like because he wants to make money by doing magic.
But but if anything, like he's just showing off, saying like, "Hey, I'm the better magician," with all the tricks that he's doing, and it obviously makes Irving quite angry and all that. So yeah, I mean, the thing is that Daryl does this thing just to scheme kids, just to give them money at the birthday parties and stuff like that. So, and like I said, Scratch is pretty much behind the scenes of everything.
And then there's a return of one particular character we're going to talk about.
Yes, her.
Millie! Millie's back! Yes! Oh Millie is back!
I like the fact that Millie is back just because she's trying to be a poser and say like things like that. It's like, hey, what makes this real magic? I think it's fake and I...
Yeah, honestly, what I love about this is that obviously it's Molly in disguise, but like, look at her disguise. It's really adorable, and it's pretty much her trying to be another person, but then it's really obvious that she's Molly with blue hair. Another prime example is when Molly pretty much is spies on Libby, and then Libby, of course, Libby knows full well that Molly is Millie.
Right, but then I think she played along with it during that episode too, just to reveal Molly that Scratch is a ghost that Molly runs around with.
So that's what I love about it, is that like Millie is Molly trying to be in disguise, but let's be obvious, the disguise is obvious.
This Millie person has been everywhere, by the way. Like she was in that coding episode with Andrea to be a fake poser over there. Again, it's a second identity, and it works out because apparently it could be able to fool a lot of people.
And I will say,
not Daryl in this case though.
To the episode's credit, like this is a breath of fresh air, because what I really hate in cartoons in particular, because cartoons do a bad habit of this, is that the characters put on an obvious disguise, and then the other characters for some reason fall for it, despite the fact that like the character obviously doesn't look anything like the character they're trying to disguise as. Here, however, what I love about it is that each and every single time, like the other characters know, yep, that's Molly with blue hair. You're not fooling anyone. I'm just like, thank you.
I'm the only people is that we do.
I'm just like, thank you for at least making the other characters not too oblivious.
I mean, Daryl knows from the get go, but I'm assuming that's because Daryl is family and everything.
Well, yeah, and also Libby, who's Molly's best friend, also knows that it's Molly. I'm just like, that's good.
All right. But besides that, yeah, she's trying to ruin the whole party by saying like Daryl's a fraud and all that stuff. I do love this part here where like even the kids were saying that she's old. We're finding this old lady, and then she goes old.
Yeah, Molly is like, apparently Molly is too. That's how you know Molly's too old for this kind of party. It's a little kid's party, so
it's a little kid's party, and then she just pops out of nowhere, just like ruining it all. And it's just like the kids say, like, who invited this old lady?
Molly feels like such a mom here.
I know.
It's sort of like when one of us goes to SAC Anime, that's what we feel like.
Yeah, that's why I don't go to SAC Anime anymore. You do though, but you do it a lot. So yeah, there's Molly, and she's got the problem with magic with Daryl. But don't forget, there's another person that's also having a problem with magic as well. And I really do love this part where like Irving ends up becoming a kid as well and tries to be that volunteer for magic.
And of course, Daryl doesn't fall for that either.
No, he doesn't. But just like, dude, you can get it. There's a mustache right in front of your face.
Yeah.
Like, it's totally,
like, what little kid is this tall and has a bushy mustache?
Exactly. So Daryl calls
Unless you're a mutant.
So Daryl calls up, Irving to do the whole magic trick. And yes, he does this whole card reveal thing. But we also did see that he's also cheating, by the way, taking the card back from Daryl, and obviously Daryl was having trouble trying to figure out that trick. Turns out he's not a real magician at all. Or is he? Or is he?
More will be revealed later.
Right. So how'd you like the scene here where, you see Irving just saying like, hey, he's a fake. Yeah, you can totally say he's a fake. But then he ends up not being a fake and stuff just because Scratch is literally holding the card.
That's what I like about it, is that it literally feels like, Daryl has a Uno reverse card on Irving. Like, Irving tries to strike at Daryl, trying to expose him as a fraud, but then Daryl uses Scratch to pretty much strike back against Irving, therefore making the battle even more intensified.
Right, exactly. And yeah, Daryl, I mean, it's again, like, I get it. Irving is just jealous the fact that there's a brand new magician out there. So obviously he hates it. Daryl's just being himself, just getting money from kids. And they might as well just go straight to it and actually get to it like a magician's duel, to say.
Yeah, so what happens is that, like, pretty much, and what happened was that Irving sees Daryl at the diner. He expresses how angry he is at him, and of course, like I said, he challenges to a magical duel, which of course happens at the main stage podium.
Mm-hmm. To say the least, both of them are definitely angry at each other. That whoever wins this one, they literally put up like a big reveal about it. Like, whoever wins will never do magic again.
Yeah, and like, this is pretty much a big battle because think about it. It's one of them never becoming a magician again. Therefore, one of them is not going to be able to get, magic gigs like birthday parties and stuff like that. It's certainly, it comes down to this. Later on, we're going to reveal, like, one really does need the magician, the title of magician, and the other one doesn't. One of them needs it, the other doesn't. And they'll both have their own reasons for why they need it or don't need it later.
Yep, exactly. So again, let's just go through this whole like synopsis here. Because, not a synopsis. It's more like we got the setup going where we get to see like what was it? Irving just continuing to do his magic tricks, and you got Daryl Scratch set up for his magic tricks until Scratch got summoned again back into the whole ghost world, which means Daryl is pretty much without a magic hand. But let's just go back to this part here, because it seems that this is definitely troubling, considering how the ghost world's being in trouble. This whole hex closet thing is just starting to burst and everything. I do have to say this, though, because we're kind of running out of time here. You don't see the whole entire scene of how they fix this whole problem. How'd you feel about that?
I felt like the cursed cabinet could have had a point to it, but the cursed cabinet
there was no point, right?
They could have done more with the cursed cabinet because later it was revealed early on that it was sort of like an important thing Scratch needed to do, and they don't even show us that. They don't even show us how he manages to manage this.
I'm surprised. Like, I thought this hex thing was going to be like, oh, you got to summon like those ghosts that happened to haunt Halloween in that one episode in season 2. But no, this just turns out to like be a thing that bursted. Scratch and the Coast Council needs to fix it up, but we never see the whole resolution. It was just resolved out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like there should have been a separate episode in which it focuses on Scratch.
Because I feel like there could be something important out of this. Maybe like Jinx comes out of nowhere and just ruins everything.
Yeah, and on the side note, I love Jinx. She's one of my favorite characters. But yeah, I'm thinking to myself, she's got a point come up sooner or later because she's a great foil to Scratch.
I was thinking like this could be something where like Scratch, you definitely ruin your responsibilities, and then something happens in the ghost world, which will happen to Brighton, and it becomes something huge for like the episode, for like the show. But no, this turns out to be just
a throwaway plot point, which isn't really a plot point because the cursed cabinet is there like only twice, and the episode doesn't do much with it.
Mm-hmm. I was just really confused about this whole scene here because it's like I thought this was gonna be something that we would love to see, but instead there was nothing. There's no point in this. What the freak is going on? Like, you didn't need a B story. This was a useless B story to me.
Yeah, honestly, the B story didn't really have much of a story at all.
No, it's not. It was just like, oh, fix it up. You're done. Goodbye.
Off screen. They did it off screen. It's just like, you could have done it on screen.
You could have at least done like something on screen. Instead, no, you ended up seeing just Scratch fixing it up. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh god. So that's one bad mistake, but we'll continue on with this episode because remember, Scratch is gone. Daryl doesn't have a magic buddy.
Exactly. Without Scratch, Daryl is no longer Daryl the magician. It's just Daryl as Daryl. That's it.
There's Daryl and Molly, but apparently Molly had this secret all along through her disgust.
I love Molly's expression here.
I know, me too. Through the disgust, she is a magician herself, Wait. I'm confused. So
What?
if you hate magicians,
Why are you one?
why are you a magician?
Are you kidding?
Wait, I don't get it. Wait, is it because like, oh, keep your enemies close, keep your friends closer, keep your enemies closer? Is it that kind of like thing?
That's that sort of thing. But then again, it still doesn't really add up or anything.
No, it doesn't add up because it's like, wait, Molly, you're not supposed to like magic. Then why are you learning magic? And why are you a master of magic? Are you trying to say like, forget every other magician out there and like I'm the best magician?
To quote the great Obi-Wan Kenobi, you have become the very thing you swore to destroy.
Yes, you're pretty much Darth Vader. Oh no. So, okay, I am absolutely pissed. The fact that this is just useless. I'm like, okay, so this whole plot point of Molly hating magicians end up turning to have Molly become a magician. What?
Seriously, it feels hypocritical when you think about it.
It's very hypocritical,
It's
yes.
very hypocritical.
I'm like, wow, is Molly a hypocrite of magicians? I'm like, that makes her look bad too.
Like seriously, it's just like I said before, this doesn't really add up because Molly's supposed to hate magicians, but if she hates magicians, why is she
a master of magic?
Why is she master of
This
magic
was just
herself?
absolutely out of nowhere, and I'm just like, you
they
gotta
just-
be kidding me.
They just threw it in just for the sake of Molly doing something for, the plot, because Molly's the main character. We gotta have her be significant at some point.
That's
so
not a really good significance of Molly, though.
that's what I mean. This is just like something to throw in just for the sake of Molly trying to save the day in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say be a magician herself. Maybe an assistant could be great. Maybe have some Daryl shenanigans where Daryl can actually, was it? No, like maybe like, well, I mean, like have Molly not have any magic at all, and let her just be like some sort of do something to at least move the crowd and say like, hey, Daryl did magic, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Instead of having her become a literal magician.
Or you just have or you could just have Molly say, "I know a guy who knows a guy."
You could have done something like that instead, but no, you ended up just having Molly become, or just have another ghost. Maybe have another ghost come by. Maybe have Jeff come by. And
Why
let
would you
him,
have Jeff come by?
Yeah, there's other significant points, but not bring Molly as a magician. This it's so very hypocritical of Molly to do, and it just tells me like, wow, okay, Molly's a magician, so this hate of magicians is absolutely fake, and we follow this all show long from season 1 to season 2. That's a really bad thing for the show to have that.
Yeah, honestly, like I said before, like this really did feel like so out of character, and this really did feel like I said before, it made no logical sense when you think about the fact of how Molly despises magicians, and then it reveals she's actually one herself. Just like you could have done differently.
Could have done it way differently than than having Molly become a magician. I
Seriously.
swear to God, that was just not good. Either way, okay, so we'll just go through the scenario here. We get to see Molly just do some magic tricks. He literally just took a card and make it a butterfly. That's one thing. Okay, my magic showdown stuff here. We get to see Molly and Daryl float some stuff. He
With
does
the song
all these
playing.
Yeah. Do you like the song, by the way? I'm just skipping through all these. Because it's like, okay, look, I feel so bad now. Forget this episode. Yeah.
And I don't blame you.
Scenario after scenario. And yeah, this pretty much was a magician showdown.
Yeah, look, like this pose right there tells you, like, yeah, this is a magician standoff. Like the McGees versus Irving, who will come out on top.
Exactly. So now we get to see, well, here's the thing, like, we're going to the final act and everything, and we also saw the secret that Irving has, and apparently the bird is the reason why his magic like is happening. How'd you feel about that story?
It's more like his motivation. Like his motivation, why Irving does it is not for profit or money or anything like that. He does it because he wants to entertain kids. Now, this differs from Daryl's motivation for doing this, because Daryl's in it for the money. He's in it for the scheming.
He's just scheming. Yeah, but that's Daryl being Daryl.
Yeah, so this is pretty much like, one credit I'll give it is that it shows the difference between Daryl and Irving, and it really does go to show who really deserves the magician title. And that's what Daryl realizes himself. It's just like, Daryl doesn't think of himself as a magician the way Irving thinks of himself as a magician. Daryl thinks of himself as a schemer and disguising himself as a magician. So Daryl decides to pretty much throw away the game in order to have Irving win, because Daryl feels that Irving deserves it.
Right, exactly. So I really do feel bad about this episode, about this scene here, because this is Midge. This is a pet that Irving was raising for a while to do all these magic tricks and stuff like that with him. When he did this whole, and the thing is, like, they did a lot of magic tricks in this whole competition that Midge is definitely tired, and that this is all he's living for. Like, this is like the point of what Midge is all about. Like, not Midge, but what Irving is all about: being a magician, helping kids out, helping kids of Brighton be happy with all the magic things that he does. So, seeing the fact that Midge is definitely tired, that bird cannot be able to actually help Midge out. I'm sorry, help Irving out on the last couple of magic tricks, kind of makes you feel sad that, hey, you know, Daryl, I know that you're scheming and things like that, but you know there's a bitter purpose of why Irving is doing all this magic stuff, right?
Yeah, Irving's doing it for the right reasons.
Exactly, and we'll get to see that magic trick right now, where we can see him literally unchained, and then, like, if he never gets unchained, he doesn't get unchained in 30 seconds, he's gonna get blasted with, like, paint cannons. So he's trusting Midge to, you know, unlock that lock. FYI, not magic, by the way. So it tells you, like, the secret behind the magic is all about that bird.
Yeah, and pretty much, I like how you could tell, like, how nervous Midge is right there.
Oh,
Like,
he's tired. He was tired. He literally was dead on the floor.
Yeah, it does go to show how, you know, hard, you know, Midge works. Like, that is one hardworking bird right there. That's a bird with a solid ethic.
He went through all these magic tricks, and he's the purpose of the magic, because, like, or quote unquote magic, because they're not all, like, real magic tricks.
Yeah, and honestly, I look at this, I'm thinking to myself, give this bird a raise. Like, give Midge a raise.
Yeah. So yeah, we get to see Midge absolutely tired. It looks like that magic trick may not work out for Irwin at all. And then we get to see Scratch come back. FYI, we didn't see the whole resolution to that Point B story.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there was no...
He ends up getting a broken arm, and that's it. I'm like, okay, what happened? Can you explain more about what happened in that part?
The B story was non-existent from watching the episode. Like, there could have been a B story, but...
No, there was no resolution, and it just tells. Well, there is resolution, but at the same time, you didn't explain it entirely. So it's like, oh, cool, you fixed it, awesome. But we'll understand it if you actually explained it more. You know,
like,
maybe put that to your montage instead of having magics all over the musical number.
Now, I'm sure there's going to be a future episode in which it actually shows Scratch dealing with the cursed cabinet, like from his point of view during the events that did occur, because, you know, TV shows and cartoons do tend to do that. But as of right now, I'm thinking to myself, like, how the hell did Scratch manage to, you know, manage the cursed cabinet so easily?
Exactly, or more like 2 minutes, 3 minutes long in the episode.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, but he's back, and Daryl actually did made a decision to actually make Irving end up winning, which, you know, it's a great thing for, you know, Molly, considering, like, oh my god, Daryl, you're growing up and you're actually giving your thing away instead of scheming. While Scratch is like, what? Oh, we could have won this thing.
Yeah, and what follows also is, like, Daryl kind of ruined the moment where Molly is proud of Daryl, because he was saying about how, hey, Molly, we should do, like, a magician duo, like you and me, we're gonna get some gigs. And then I love Molly's.
I forgot about this part.
I love Molly's expression at the end. It's never speak of this again.
Oh, we need to go to this part, by the way, where we get to see Scratch become Midge, like possess Midge, and he actually did end up pulling off the trick at the end. So, so cool that Irving ends up it's pain free. Obviously, Scratch was the one that pretty much did all the magic stuff, and Daryl pretty much hands the reins off to Irving to become the magician of Brighton. And it's good for him. I mean, look, we're not going to see magician Daryl anymore, but it's great to show that Daryl had some characters say, like, hey, I think it's better for Irving to actually become the magician overall.
Yeah, because
he's got a purpose.
Daryl knows for a fact that like I said, Daryl knows he's not a real magician. He's a schemer disguising himself as a magician, whereas Irving is the real magician. So in Daryl's mind, he's thinking to himself, you know what? Give Irving the title.
Yeah. And then, like what Omid said in the end, like, Daryl was thinking about having Molly become the magician and all. Molly's absolutely upset. You got these emotions out here from Molly's like, never speak of this again.
Yes.
Never speak of this again. She literally flies away.
How's she
like, it's magic. It's the magic that she has.
Yeah. Like, to quote, and even Scratch points out too, it's like, how is she able to do that? I'm sitting there to myself, I don't know. You tell me,
I
Bill
don't know.
Bob.
How did Molly become a magician herself? Literally in this episode, like this long lost secret that Molly has, that she became a magician at the end.
Bill, Bob, you tell me. You tell me.
Bill and Bob, you definitely did not really put a lot of answers to this episode. You literally just went fast in this episode. Like, we could have at least had some side episodes where we get to see like Molly actually lightening up and actually see like that she actually likes magic instead of like, you know, hiding the fact that she's not hates magic and all. Because we led through it all. We were like leading into this thought that Molly that Molly likes magic or doesn't like magic. And then now in the end, she just ends up like becoming a magician herself, like being a really good magician herself. I'm sorry, that doesn't make any sense. This is really pointless on Molly's part.
Yeah, honestly, like, I have all the respect for Bill and Bob. I love these two guys so much, and I respect what they have done as creators. But I gotta say, Bill, Bob, guys, this isn't your best work.
This is definitely not your best work. These pair of episodes were not your best episodes. This is why I'm just absolutely angry with the fact these two episodes were useless. Like, we didn't get a plot line for Scratch's backstory, which I thought was going to happen, considering that the title was called Death Day, Happy Death Day or something. And then like we have this episode here, we get to see Molly. I'm sorry, where we get to see like the whole Alaka-Sham thing, where we're thinking like, oh, maybe Molly can actually, you know, figure out what's going on with magic and stuff, but she ends up being a magician, which ends up becoming like such a useless, pointless thing that for Molly, I am like so confused. I was just like, what the hell happened in these two episodes? This was definitely not a great weekend for Molly Mcgee. I was just not okay with these episodes.
And what makes it worse is that, here's the thing, that all of these wouldn't bother me so much if not for the fact that like it goes against the title of what the show is about in the first place. Because the name of the show is called The Ghost and Molly Mcgee. The first two words in the title are The Ghost and Molly Mcgee. And I feel like, you know, for a show called The Ghost and Molly Mcgee, they underused the ghost way too much in season 2. Like, they heavily underused the ghost Scratch.
They had a plot line where Scratch is the chairman, and we don't see much of him as a chairman. We've seen a lot of ghosts pop up where he summons ghosts for a Halloween bash. And again, his responsibilities of being a chairman turns out to be not working out at all, especially in this episode where we get to see him just absolutely like forget his job, and he ends up ruining a whole, I don't know what happened in the ghost world because we never get that revealed. Yeah. It's just that a cabinet got broken and they have to fix it, and apparently they fixed it, and we never get to see the whole purpose about the fixing part.
Again, while you can argue that it is technically in character for Scratch to neglect his duties and be a lazy slob as he was in season 1, it doesn't really excuse the lack of Ghost World, the lack of Scratch's character arc as, you know, the chairman. It doesn't excuse all that. Like the in-character excuse can go so far.
Mm-hmm. I can't say much about this. I mean, like I said, bad week of episodes for the Ghost and Molly Mcgee. So I got nothing much to say. It's more like Bill and Bob, you definitely did a really bad job on these two episodes. I'm bashing this way too hard right now. Maybe not enough, but I am not okay with these two. Like, yeah. I'm sorry. Please don't make Molly a magician, especially when Molly is a huge hater of magicians. Very hypocritical of Molly to do. And of course, we still want to see more of Scratch's backstory, considering that you have Ada, and there's no talk about Ada ever since. And I'm like, what's going on? Again, really pointless episodes.
Hashtag where's Ada? Like, pretty much make it a hashtag. Be like, hashtag we want Ada. Hashtag bring back Ada.
Anything else you want to bring up from these two episodes, or?
All I gotta say is, Bill, Bob, you've done better. Please look back on your best work and be inspired by it.
I think you can like go back to season 1 and actually make some good stories out of that.
That's true. That too, yeah.
Yeah.